drive stocks lower.
It's starting to feel like the old good news is bad news days in the market.
Liz Miller is founder and president of Summit Place Financial Advisors.
The market's trying to decide, does all the good news mean, yay, we're a pretty good economy coming out of a slowdown, or does it mean our Federal Reserve has to keep hammering us with higher rates?
Also pushing stocks down, the Biden administration's announcement of plans to halt shipments to China of more advanced artificial intelligence chips designed by Nvidia and other companies. Shares of Nvidia fell more than 4.5%, even though the world's most valuable chip maker said it does not expect the curbs to meaningfully impact near-term financial results. Some upbeat earnings reports helped limit declines, including from Bank of America, whose shares gained more than 2% following the bank's quarterly results. And shares of Lockheed Martin edged up marginally after the defense contractor reported better than expected third-quarter revenue and profit.
All right, so that's the story as far as Wall Street is concerned. Of course, the big headline over there is that import curbs or export curbs on American chips to China. And chip maker Nvidia is one of the year's hottest stocks, but it's also on the front lines of those US-China tensions, and the restrictions imposed by Washington last year prevented Nvidia from exporting cutting-edge AI or artificial intelligence semiconductor chips to China. But Nvidia did soon find a workaround, developing a slightly less sophisticated chip that got around the US controls. And now Washington is planning to close any such loopholes with more and more restrictions. And this Reuters report tells you all about that.
AI chip maker Nvidia is one of the year's hot stocks, but it's also on the front lines of US-China tensions. Restrictions imposed by Washington last year prevented the firm from exporting cutting-edge AI semiconductors to China. But Nvidia soon found a workaround, developing a slightly less sophisticated chip dubbed H800, which got around the US controls. Now Washington is planning to close such loopholes, with an update expected this week. It will block shipments of some AI chips that fall just under current parameters, and require reports on the export of others. That was according to an official who spoke to Reuters on condition of anonymity. The US Department of Commerce declined to comment on the report. But Reuters sources say Nvidia's H800 is among likely targets. The firm didn't respond to a request for comment. Chips meant for consumer products like laptops are expected to be exempt from the new curbs. But the official says makers will have to file reports when they fill orders for the most powerful consumer-grade semiconductors. That's to make sure they are not being used in ways that harm US national security. Washington says all the restrictions are meant to stop US chips being used to strengthen China's military. Beijing says they are really designed to suppress Chinese companies.
All right, now keeping it with China, there's more trouble brewing in the Chinese economy after the Evergrande collapse. Another Chinese real estate giant, this time Country Garden, which could be on the brink of default as well. The firm had to make a $15 million payment on some bonds by Tuesday, 17th of October, when a 30-day grace period ended. But the company did warn it will not be able to meet all of its debt allegations. Bear in mind, property developers account for 40% of China's home sales, and they've been on a default downward spiral since the year 2021. And investors will be closely watching to see how much of a fallout this brink of default for Country Garden will create. And with jitters mounting, analysts expect Beijing, China's government, to soon step in with more measures to prop up its ailing property sector. More in this report.
Giant Chinese property developer Country Garden could be on the brink of default. The firm has to make a $15 million payment on some bonds by Tuesday, when a 30-day grace period ends. If it doesn't, its entire stock of offshore debt will be deemed in default. And the chances of a payment seem slim. Country Garden last week warned that it couldn't meet all its offshore debt obligations. It's already missed payments on some other bonds, although their grace periods are yet to expire. Now, non-payment would make it just the latest Chinese developer to default. The whole sector has faced a mounting crisis as home sales slow. Data from JP Morgan shows developers accounting for 40% of the country's home sales have defaulted since 2021. But with $17 billion in offshore bonds and loans, Country Garden could have an outsized impact, with default there setting the stage for one of China's biggest ever debt restructurings. Investors around the world will also be watching to see how much fallout ripples through the global financial system. With jitters mounting, analysts expect Beijing will soon have to step in with more measures to prop up its ailing property sector.
All right, moving things away from China to US automaker Tesla. That's right, Elon Musk's Tesla is all set to recall nearly 55,000 of its Model X vehicles manufactured between the years of 2021 and 2023, and that's because the vehicle controller could have low brake fluid and not display a warning light. That's what they're saying. This Reuters report tells you all about this mega Tesla recall. With cars, but we're not going to talk about Tesla anymore. Let's talk about something equally iconic. The iconic Rolls-Royce, one of the most prestigious luxury brands and engineering companies in the world from Britain, is now saying that it would be cutting up to 2,500 jobs as its new chief executive is looking to build a more efficient business. Bear in mind, over the last decade, Rolls-Royce, whose engines power everything from Airbus and Boeing jets to cars, has cut over 13,000 jobs due to restructuring. More in this Reuters report.
Rolls-Royce said on Tuesday it would cut up to 2,500 roles. That, as its new chief executive seeks to build a more efficient business. Over the last decade, Rolls-Royce, whose engines power Airbus and Boeing jets, has cut over 13,000 jobs through restructuring. Tufan Ergin Bilgic, who took over in January, is the latest boss to tackle the British engineering company's inefficiencies. Rolls has long trailed the margins made by GE, its main competitor in the wide-body aircraft sector. In July, Ergin Bilgic's operational improvements helped prompt a profits upgrade, and he said there would be more to come. On Tuesday, the company said it planned to shed up to 2,500 roles out of its total staff of 42,000. Rolls-Royce, which also provides propulsion for ships and submarines as well as power generation systems, said it would merge its engine technology and safety groups, and as a result, the current chief technology officer would leave in April 2024. It added that the streamlining plan would also improve the company's procurement and supply chain management to cut costs. Finance, legal and human resources functions will also be brought together across the group.
Right, that's all we have time for on this edition of Global Business Report. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off. Keep it with News9. Literally every major power in the world is gearing up with its own digital currency. And so is India. But India's UPI has taken digital transactions to the next level. So, with UPI already available, what exactly is the use case for the e-rupee?
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT. News9 Plus, download now.
Members of the Indian community are taking on Hamas terrorists in Israel.
About 206 reservists have been called for duty.